This is a flight that recently went from Bali to LAX, and it was halfway to Hawaii. You can see Hawaii along the line there, when a woman went into labor and they had to make an emergency landing. The pilot could have turned around, which didn't make sense. He could have stopped in Hawaii, or he could have continued to LAX. Those are the best three options. But instead, next slide, he decided to go to Alaska. Now, why would he do that? It makes no sense at all. Next slide. And the reason is because on a flat Earth, it's a straight line. The plane on that line is in Alaska. Hawaii is way off to the right, and LAX is in the is farther ahead. So Alaska is the way to go. If you track packages around the world that are going to that side of the world, they all go through Alaska, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever on a ball Earth. Next, recently a pilot filmed a flight with a camera out the window that left LAX and went to Frankfurt, Germany. It went over, close to the pole, up the polar route, they call it, I guess. The sun was to the west. It was late afternoon. Go to the next slide. And the entire flight, you can see sunlight. If you look at the little map on the right, the sun is way off. It should be on the other side of the planet. It should be 5,000 miles or more over the horizon. But you can see the sun the entire time. It goes away and then it comes back because it's traveling in a flat circle across a flat plane. Next. There's no shortcuts on a flat Earth. That's why when you fly from Australia to Chile, it goes up to the northern hemisphere or into the northern hemisphere, across the United States and down, which makes absolutely no sense unless you look at it on a flat Earth. On the right, it's a straight line, and that's how all planes fly. Now, you will be able to find a couple of flights that say they do fly from there, but you can't book them, you can't fly them, and they don't exist. Next. This is a chart of all of the internet cables, communication cables. None of them go across the Southern Ocean because there is no shortcut on a flat Earth. We could dive into that deeper later. Next, NASA and their imagery. NASA is laughing at us with everything they show us. They've never done anything. There are no astronauts have been to space. There are no satellites. There is no space station. And we've never been to the moon, and we've never been into outer space because it's not what we think. Next, this is what they show us as imagery of the space station. We have the space shuttle connected to that. Think of the torques and the twists and, just by movement of humans pushing off the walls, this thing never breaks down. If it ever does break down, they go on a spacewalk in their clunky suit and they can fix it with a screwdriver. I mean, our cars break down here on a hot summer day or cold winter. This thing is up there getting beaten by heat and meteors and stuff. And if you think about a submarine, every compartment has a sealed door and hatches, and they have to be maintained all the time. But they're never fixing these. There are no sealed doors between the compartments in the space station. They're wide open doors. There's nothing to protect one part from the other. And people just assume that there are, but there's not. Next frame. Here's a shot of the Earth from 1969 versus a more recent shot. Doesn't make any sense. It's a cartoon. Next. The top shot is a clip from the recent transit of the moon across the Earth. Of course, the sun is directly behind us. It's a perfect shot. That's supposedly the backside of the moon. It's a total cartoon. The one on the bottom right is the shot when we were on the moon, but that's what the Earth looks like. The Earth is so much bigger than the moon. It should like the picture on the bottom left. Next.